all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I would like to gift my book, The Golden Key, Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance to you at goldenkey.gift, where you can get the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD at checkout.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome one and all. I am very grateful that you have joined me today on what is always another magical today. Today, I thought we would make it a Thursday fun day and get into more other dimensional or multi-dimensional, other planetary realities. I think this is a really fun topic, and I've had a ton of clients recently who are going to these places. And especially after our show on Tuesday with Tracy and Leah talking about these other multi-dimensional places, I thought we'd talk about this more. So, one of the main things that I want to talk about today is why people go into these aspects of themselves. We are here remembering who we are. We are here remembering how powerful we are. And so many powerful light beings have come here at this time to help the collective. This collective here on Earth has been stuck on this wheel of karma for so incredibly long. And it is time now in our evolutionary cycle to move along. And we need help. We need a whole lot of help because this earth has been stuck for so long. And the souls who have been stuck here have been stuck for way too long. And it's time to move on. And so all of these big, shiny, bright warriors of light have come here now to help. And the thing is, these big, bright warriors of light, they have come and they have chosen really tough lives, experiences that are severely traumatic. And the reason why they choose these lives is because this is the only way to help these souls get out of the wheel of karma. Because there has to be other souls who've had this same experience, this experience that has kept them stuck on this wheel. These other souls that can show them, look, I've been through this too. And yes, you can rise above. Yes, you can learn, you can grow, and you can move forward. You do not need to stay stuck in this cycle. You can forgive, you can find the compassion, and you can love. You can get to this place. Look, I did it. And so all of these light warriors have come here now to do this. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking to yourself, is that what I am? Am I a big, shiny, bright, powerful warrior of light? Is that why I've had these really intensely severe traumatic experiences in my life? Yeah, probably. Most likely if you're listening to this podcast, because you're remembering and you're trying to help people, because it is your focus in this life, your mission to help others by bringing the light here into the darkness. This world has been stuck in this cycle of darkness for way too long. And so the light bringers are here. That's all of us. And there are so many on the other dimensional realities as well. And the thing is, that's all happening right now. All of these levels, all simultaneously happening at this very moment. So when I have a client who's out in a trance state, lying there on the bed here on Earth, they're actually remembering a reality that they are experiencing simultaneously. Now, I had this experience myself, and it is really interesting to have this sense of knowing that this is all happening right now. In my own session years and years and years ago, I saw myself as a light being, and I was there to guide and to comfort and to protect. And I was sent to a call where I went and surrounded someone who was just grieving so intensely. And I knew as I was doing this in the session that I was going to meet this person, or that person was a part of our earth reality now. And come to find out, about maybe a little less than a year later, I meet this person. that actually happened in this reality on Earth while I was having that experience of being the light being. So that means simultaneously living here in this body on Earth and being in that light body wherever that may be. All of us are doing this. All of us have so many different aspects of ourselves that are simultaneously living these realities. And we have access to it all. That's what's really, really cool. Down there, deep in our subconscious, in our memory, in our soul memory, exists all of it. And we all have access to it. All that is required is a quieting of the mind, is a quieting of that mental chatter, of all that analytical mental chatter that we all go through, that overthinking each and every day, the quieting of that, getting into a quiet meditative state, breathing, or doing a session like the ones I do, the QHHT sessions. There are practitioners all over the world, and these sessions always will guide you to the experience that is necessary for you to see, that is current to your life now, that is what is appropriate for you to understand in your current life. Because since we've all lived and are living in all of these other multi-dimensional realities, they're not all important, but some of them are. So the ones that are really important to our life right now, those are the ones that we're shown. And so I find it very interesting that a lot of my clients recently are shown these lives as other planetary beings, extraterrestrials, light beings, guardians, observer beings. There are so many different other dimensional forms that they're taking lately. It's not just a simple potato digging past life anymore. These are grandiose experiences. And I will say that a lot of these people that I'm seeing have had extremely traumatic experiences in life. And what that's also telling me is that so many of us who have had these experiences, we are ready to move forward. We're ready to understand, gain a new perspective on them, to grow from them, and learn how to help others with this knowledge. So many of us are awakening to these concepts and remembering this now. And maybe that's why I'm seeing so many powerful light beings right now. So when people go into these other dimensions, oftentimes they either see themselves as a light body, meaning there's like a human body form that is made of light, or they see themselves as an orb, a sphere of light. Or they see themselves in an actual body, but in that body they're wearing a suit of some sort. A suit is really common, and this suit is typically metallic, like a metallic type of material. I even had someone the other day, which was really cool. It was a fluid like metallic. And these suits often will work, or part of the suit will work with the person and the consciousness. So for example, I had someone who was wearing these snakeskin boots, and the boots were alive, and they were part of this warrior armor that she wore as this being. And these boots were guiding her and showing her the way, but they worked with her consciousness. She also wore a crown with a jewel in it, and this jewel would light the way. And what she learned throughout this session was that it wasn't the jewel, it wasn't the boots at all that was guiding the way or lighting the way. It was her. It was her internal light that was guiding the way. It was her sense of knowing within her which road to take, which way to go, because she trusts her inner knowing. And those pieces of armor that she wore, or parts of her clothing, they were just there to work with her, to help to remind her of her power.
Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about a podcast called Stories of Impact. As those of you that have been listening for a while know, I am always excited to get the word out there about other inspiring and insightful shows. Stories of Impact is just that. It features stories of new scientific research on human flourishing that translates these basic discoveries into practical tools. It brings a mix of curiosity, compassion, and creativity that is suitable for all ages, and it's stewarded by journalist Richard Sergey and acclaimed writer-producer Tavia Gilbert, who shine a spotlight on the human impact at the heart of a cutting-edge social and scientific research project, which was made possible through the generous support of a grant from Templeton World Charity Foundation. So if you're looking for scientific research-backed stories and tools to aid and inspire you on the path to becoming the greatest and grandest version of yourself, be sure to check out the Stories of Impact podcast.
And beings like this often will see themselves move into another dimension to go home. And whether it's to another dimension or to another planet, they typically will go home to recharge. And this doesn't always happen, but I see it a lot, to where they go home, to where they feel at home, to where they can rest and recharge, and then go back out to work again, to when they hear the call. So they get a call, they go out to do a job, whether that job is to observe, to guide, to help, to send light, to balance energies. They do that job, and then they come back to their home. And whether that home is another dimension or another planet, it's different. Either way, they come home to recharge. Oftentimes as well, I will see on these planets pyramids, these crystalline pyramids that are there to transmit energy, to receive and transmit. And speaking of receiving and transmitting energy, a lot of the beings that are on these other dimensional levels are observer beings. And what their role is to just observe, to gather information. And when they see themselves going off into other places, oftentimes they're going into a ship. And on that ship are other extraterrestrial beings. These beings will look often like you will see them look on television. Speaking of on television, I find it very curious that all of the things that, not all, but so many of the things that we see on television, all of these images, they came from somewhere. They were created through someone's imagination, right? Well, where does that imagination come from? If it didn't exist somewhere, would it be able to exist in the mind? So is that imagination really just a remembrance? Did you know that I think it's the Star Trek series that was mostly channeled material? And don't be mad if I'm wrong about that exact series, but I think it is the Star Trek series that was mostly channeled information. And I think all of these things, all of these space travel type sci-fi shows are all memories because we have access to it all. And so these beings on these ships, they're often working at consoles and receiving information and transmitting information. And usually that's on a cosmic level. What's funny about these beings is that every time I try to talk to them, they have absolutely no interest in talking to me whatsoever. I try every single time to ask the client to talk to these beings and see if you can ask them questions. And it is almost like sometimes they'll get a look, but for the most part, they don't want to talk at all. And it's like, I'm too busy. I'm doing my job. You know better. You know what's going on here. Leave me alone. We're all working here. And it's not mean. It's just, I'm doing a job and you know better than to bother me right now. And so they're very focused on what they're doing. And the way these ships move is usually through thought. A lot of times on these other dimensions and other planets, everything is done through thought. So the ships will move with thought. The beings will move with thought. They will communicate with thought. Things will be created with thought. Everything happens with thought. And people are shown this because we are trying to bring this remembrance into this reality here, that the power of our thought is what is in creation, it is how we create through our thought focus. And so if we understand this, then we will be really aware of what we're thinking and what we're creating with our thoughts, and know that we have the power to create anything we want. Oftentimes clients are told that you can do anything, that we all can do anything as long as you put your focus towards it, as long as that's where your thoughts are. We negate it so many ways in our human existence by doubting ourselves or believing these human programs that we can't, or the program that maybe our parents taught us that we weren't good enough, or that society tells us that we can't. But in reality, we can. We can do anything we set our minds to. And so this power of thought comes through very, very often. When I say people travel through thought, but they want to go somewhere, they think it, and then instantaneously they are there. And then there's also some of the other dimensions where they're not quite yet at that ability, at that level yet to think it and be there. And so they use portals or wormholes. And it is not uncommon for me to see someone go to a planet where they use water as a portal, where it may look like a traditional human type native existence, but right there, there's this magical pond that is actually this portal into another dimension where they can go and gather crystals or speak to other beings and gather information to bring back to the surface, or even to go and recharge their energies there. And speaking of water, I even had someone go to a water planet the other day. This planet was all water, but there were buildings, and the buildings were glass and very tall, and the glass was reflective of the water. And so it just looked like water everywhere, although you could see an outline of the buildings. And there were so many beings there, but each being was doing its own thing, kind of like the beings on the ship. Like, I'm doing my thing, I'm doing my job. We don't necessarily need to interact. I know you're here. I know you love me. I'm part of this oneness, and we're all good. I'm okay being alone. This is a common theme as well, where there are existences where we are kind of just solitary energy beings, doing our own thing, doing our job, answering the calls where we're called, and we don't necessarily always come together in groups. But we know that we're all there. There is always a sense of oneness, a sense of knowing what all the others know, but also a sense of individuality, having like your own feelings or perceptions of the way things are, but also having an awareness of the knowing of the group and knowing that you are never really alone, although you get to have this alone time. It's this beautiful, healthy balance. So there's so many different types of buildings and things on other planets. A lot of times these buildings are shiny, like metallic or crystalline even. And what can happen is that the beings don't have to actually open a door to go in these buildings. They either fly into them or float through them, like the walls are able to pass through, just like you would see a ghost pass through the walls. On other planets, when these light beings travel, this is how they do it. They just go right through the walls. Or sometimes the walls look solid from the outside, but then once they're inside, they look invisible and they can see out. So many different options and possibilities and different realities out there. There are some planets that are like Jurassic Park times 10, where the plants are humongous and the colors are like you've never seen. These planets are all out there. There are so many, again, so many probabilities and possibilities. And so the main theme I want to bring home to you all today is that these concepts are coming through for all of us to remember how powerful we are, that we are here bringing the light, that all of us came here to do this very important job, which is to shine the light that we are, to be bright, shiny, powerful light beings. We've done this before. We are here remembering. And if you want to help yourself remember more, then take that time in the quiet and breathe. Go out in nature and meditate. Sit in the quiet and stillness and peace with yourself and breathe. This is the way to connect with your memories, with your higher self, and to just feel peace, to feel the love that exists within you. Every time I ask a person's higher self, what is the best way to talk to you? That is the answer that I get. To sit quietly, breathe, and meditate. To spend time in nature. To sit by the water. The water, as we talked about today, is extremely powerful. We are extremely powerful. We are filled with endless possibilities, and all we need to do is focus our thoughts on it. I think that's it for me today, everyone. I love you so much. I'm going to leave you with this song by Volo called Portals. Until next time, I love you all.
Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.